Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, guys, I'm excited for this AMA today. It's just going to be me today. Heidi is taking some much needed rest and time off. It's crazy. Me and Heidi have been working together for so long now. It's actually kind of insane. I think she started the company almost in like a month or two. It'll be almost 4 years, which is nuts. And if you guys have noticed, like we have not missed many AMAs. Like I've maybe missed 3, 4 in the last, I can't believe it's 4 years, but yeah, literally 4 years. And she's only missed a couple too. I just want to say before we like dive into the AMA that I'm really grateful for this community. It's been awesome working on Pixels, and I'm also really grateful for Heidi. You know, I'm a big believer in saying nice things about people behind their backs, and I think it comes back in life too. So yeah, maybe we start this AMA with just like a little bit of Heidi appreciation for everything that she's done for the community, right? Because yeah, she's shaped what Pixels has been a ton. I think one of the strongest parts about Pixels over the last 4 years has been community, and Heidi's led like most of it, right? Um, so yeah, maybe if we could just spend a few minutes in the chat saying nice things about her. And what's great is you can say nice things about her and she'll never know, right? Sometimes it's embarrassing to say it to somebody's face. But yeah, I'm a big believer in the karma of just saying nice things about people when they're not there also. So yeah, I would agree. Yeah, she's been a huge part of the success of Pixels. I'm really glad that she's taking some nice time off, relaxing, out in the countryside. And yeah, she'll be back next week. So yeah, who's Heidi? LOL. Where's the weekly update yesterday? That's not Heidi Love. We'll go through all that stuff in a few minutes. But yeah, in this AMA, it's just gonna be me and you guys. We're gonna show you some cool stuff that we've been working on that we finally can get to demo. And we'll also kind of just go through like questions and answers too. Pixels is in an interesting spot right now where, we're changing some of the strategy. We've been filling you guys in week on week on like how we're thinking about things, what we think about the future of Web3 gaming, some of our thoughts there. And I want to share everybody, I'm still super bullish on Web3 gaming. I'm still very, very bullish on like what we're doing here. I think we all know that some parts about Web3 gaming needs a little bit of a rework, right? Some games have been working, some games, well, actually, there's really no game in Web3, I would say, that's been working, to be honest. Like, what game inside of Web3 has maintained like success, DAU, and token price, all of those things over the course of years? Actually, there's no game that's done it. And Pixels is not the exception, right? There are parts of Pixels that we've been doing really well. There's parts that we're experimenting with and we're still working hard and moving forward, right? But um but yeah, there's also a lot of stuff that we still need to improve and work on too. Like what's interesting about Web3 and what I really appreciate about a lot of the audience here at Pixels is I think we're all on the same understanding and the same page that Web3 gaming is still in a very much early phase. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out how we can actually make Web3 games work. And what's cool about our audience here at Pixels is I think you guys are all kind of on the same page about us of like, yeah, we know Web3 gaming is like interesting. We like the benefits of it. We know it's not in a stage right now where it's like, sustainable or working in the long run, but we're all here working on it together. What I really love about these AMAs is we also get a lot of ideas from the community too, right? And the two-way street has been awesome because what we need to make sure that we're doing here at Pixels is we need to be making sure that one, we're building something that people want, and also something that works too. So like those two things have been a little tricky sometimes because sometimes what people want isn't always what's going to work in the long run. But what I really do appreciate about this community of Pixels is like I think you guys do understand that if you love Pixels and you want to be around for a long time and you want like Pixels to stay alive, like we need to have both of those things work together, right? So Pixels has been in like a stage, over, I think July was a big turning point in the company where if you think about what we were doing like pre-July, I would say like the span from September to July, September 2024 to July, what we were doing was we were trying to basically build a game more like a Web2 game by adding in the Web3 elements and monetizing like a Web2 game also. So that's when you saw a lot of gotcha, a lot of like best practices in mobile. We brought on like a team of really experienced mobile developers and game designers into Pixels, right? And there were some things about that were kind of working really well. Like we had events that generated like a lot of pixel burn, right? Or a lot of pixel getting locked up. But the issue is it didn't really feel good to the users, right? And what we've kind of learned is Web3 games are different, whether you like to admit it or not. For a long time, if you talk to people in the space who knew Web3 gaming and like all the VCs and like the thought leaders, you'll kind of understand that nobody knows what they're talking about inside of Web3 gaming, including us, right? There's a recognition that we need to understand that no one's cracked the code yet. And there's still a lot of things to figure out. And honestly, like the fundamental parts of Web3 gaming is still the core thing to crack here. Web3 gaming is harder than building a fun game and then adding in Web3, right? Because inherently, I posted a tweet about this the other day, and I want people to make sure that we're on the same page about this. I'll bring it up actually. Here, let me bring up this. Let me bring up this tweet. I'll bring it into reading mode. I think how do I do this again? Embed post. That's not it. Okay, well, I'll just zoom in. So yeah, there's this interesting paradox here with Web3 games where even if you make a game that's really fun, somebody brought up a great example, and I'll bring it up in the replies too, or like further. Even if you make a game really fun, when you start to add in Web3 elements, it changes the way that people play the game. So a lot of people have this thesis of making a fun game and then adding Web3 to it, or like the game just has to be fun and like all the Web3 pieces will work. And I actually don't think that is the case. I think a Web3 game needs to keep in mind that it's a Web3 game. And honestly, Web3, I'm not even a fan of that term anymore, really. Like, truthfully, there is some sensitivity talking about this, but what Web3 games really are is they're real money games, right? And that's kind of the whole point of the Web3. Like we're adding in real money into the core loop of the game, right? And the issue with real money games is they play differently than Web2 games. Here's a really good example of what I mean by this. And I want you guys to also understand what I say when I say this kind of stuff. I don't mean that Web3 games aren't supposed to be fun. I'm saying the fun looks a lot different in a Web3 game than a Web2 game, right? Because you're adding real money into the loop, the way that you play the game, the psychology behind it, it all feels really different. Like a lot of what we did in, I would say, like the September to like January timeframe of last year. And I'm talking specifically around like a lot of the live ops events that we were doing, the monetization stuff that we were doing. Like those are really good practices inside of Web2. Like they were executed well, but they felt weird, right? Like objectively, they were generating revenue, they were burning up tokens, they were locking tokens, like they were doing a lot of the things that you would want to see in a healthy game, right? But because there was a real money component to it, it felt weird to the users and it didn't feel good. Like for example, when we did gotchas and we generated a lot of pixel burn, that's kind of normal inside of Web2 games to do loot boxes and really get stuff some of the time, right? But when you have real money in the line, it feels way worse, right? So what we've kind of understood now is one, like a lot of the Web3 aspects of the game need to also be thought about when you think about designing the game to be fun. Where the earnings are, where you add the Web3 into the game, and how you actually do like some of the same concepts inside of Web2 to feel better when it comes to like adding real money into a game loop. There's really no way around it, right? Even games like EVE Online or RuneScape have similar issues. When you add Web3 in and you make the real money component even more frictionless and like a part of the game loop, then these issues get compounded like 10x, 100x, right? So somebody brought up a really good example. I'll bring it up because I thought this was super smart. David1923.ron. What Luke says is totally and absolutely true. You can never isolate the economic factor. Tokenize the blue essence and RP in League of Legends, and the way that people view League of Legends will change totally and absolutely. That is a super good example of what we mean by this, right? Imagine if League of Legends was a Web3 game, right? Now, imagine how differently people would be playing it, right? It would change the way that the game is played a ton. People will be trying to maximize getting these currencies so that they could sell them. And it just changes the fun of the game a little bit, right? So this is an important lesson and like an important thing to think about as we're designing the future of what Pixels looks like and all the other games that we're building out too. And there's a couple of different directions that we can go, right? One of the big things we released recently was this new offer system, right? And this will be some experimentation that we do. One is where we put the earnings in the game matter a lot, right? If you play Pixels right now, just to give you guys all know, but like if somebody else is listening to this and not super familiar with Pixels, I'll just kind of give them the lay of the land, and then we'll kind of go on the concepts from there. So, and we'll do a lot of questions today too, guys. But I just kind of want to go over this because one, I love nerding out about this, and we don't have Heidi, so it's going to be a more technical AMA this time, and we'll explain to you guys some of the thought processes. So, here, let me switch to this screen. I hope somebody put the popcorn in the AMA too. I wasn't on top of that. Someone on the team, if there's no popcorn, please do that. But yeah, when you go and play Pixels right now, right? Like how you earn inside of the game right now is misclicked. You go to the task board inside of the game, right? Here's my spec. You guys give me so much UGC. I think I still have to put some down actually. Let me. Yeah. So you'll go into the game, you'll go to this system called InfiniFunnel, but it's a task board, right? So you have different things that you're supposed to submit every single day. In exchange for returning in resources, you either get coins or sometimes you get pixel, right? And this is where we put the real money component inside of the game or the earning component inside of the game, right? We have users basically do a ton of farming tasks with the chance of earning pixel, and that's kind of the chase content and like the big magical moment inside of the game right now. And you have to play this core loop a lot to do this. And what's also interesting is we have some control over the earnings inside of the game. Like if you go to staking.pixels.xyz, I bring up this dashboard a lot, but it's a really, really great dashboard. You'll get to see exactly how many missions are given out inside of the game every single day, right? So right now we give out about 200,000 pixel inside of the game every single day. And most of that is given through the task board. Now we have a really cool system in the task board, and it's relatively smart and thought out, but it's still not the best system in the long run because of the reasons that we'll go into. where we only give out a certain amount of pixel a day through each through the task board, right? Like we're able to kind of cap the amount of earnings. So basically, this is kind of a dumb offer system where we say, hey, we want people to play in this particular piece of the game loop. We know if we add incentives into the task board, we'll get people doing the task board, right? and um, and you'll start to earn some pixel doing it, right? And this is like the main source of earnings right now too inside of the game. There's also a few other systems. There are merchant ships, which you can earn some pixel in. And I know people have their own thoughts on merchant ships, but task board's the main system, right? So that's really the way that you're going to be earning. Now, the issue with this task board system is we have some systems and some like levers in place where we can kind of target earnings to different types of people in different ways, right? Like we can lean earnings more to higher levels. We can lean earnings more to like different segments of users. And we can kind of increase the probability that a user will get a certain pixel task given a bunch of stuff that we might know about them, right? But the issue is just putting them in these loops in general has led to some weird play, right? Where a lot of users are only participating in this loop, and then it creates this like interesting expectation of how they play the game loop. Because when you're playing a real money game, let's be honest, like what are you trying to do when there's real money in the core loop? You're trying to earn more money than you spent inside of a game. That's supernatural. Like that's actually how you should play any game with real money in the loop, right? Like if you were playing League of Legends in that same way, you would be thinking about that also, right? And don't worry, guys, I will be leaking some stuff today, but I just want to kind of go over this concept because I think it's something to think about and something that we all should work on together, right? So I've not done merchant ships in a minute, but yeah. So the idea here is basically we want you guys to go out and like do some certain parts of the game loop. That's why we add in earnings into the game loop, right? And that's also why we basically have this part in here. So the intention with play to earn, when we think about sustainable play to earn and why it matters again, is we essentially want to make a system where players can earn and be rewarded and have ownership over assets inside of the game, but they also will actually like lead to sustainable economics for the game too. Like there's a little bit of competing goals inside of play to earn, right? Like one, users want to earn, and that's obviously the natural thing for them to want to do because we added real money into the game loop. That's how people will play. It's just the complete natural thing to do, right? And if we didn't have pixel earnings inside of the game, imagine how different you would be playing this game. There would still be people playing the game because actually some people really like farming games and chill games and cozy casual games, right? But there's probably more people playing this type of game than they would without the earnings inside of it because there are earnings, right? And that's super natural. And there actually are really fun elements of the earnings too. Like you guys don't, there are interesting things where it's like, oh, I have to plan. I have to like think about what I'm going to be doing. I have to be efficient. I have to optimize my CPP, my cost per pixel. Like there is actually fun elements of the real money inside of that game loop, right? You guys buy coins. You think about, okay, if I buy this many coins, can I like do my task board in the right way and level up in the right way to get my earnings? There are fun parts with that, right? But the issue is, it's fun. It's way more fun when you're earning than when you're spending more, right? And that creates this weird loop inside of the game where people are playing these game loops and, it feels a little bit more like work to them sometimes, or they're trying to maximize sometimes, right? So yeah, this is kind of the fundamental issue because what we need to do as a game also, if we want to be able to have the game go live forever, right, is we also need to find a way to make it so that the game is generating more revenue than we're giving out in rewards, right? Like that is just a truth that needs to happen. Now, it sounds weird, and like I think some people in Web3 label that as extractive, but I think sometimes they don't also consider the alternative where if there were no earnings inside of the game, what would the point of this game be? It would be to like have fun, and also we would still be trying to have people spend money, right? Because the game does need to make money to support itself. That's just a fact of life, right? Like there's server cost, there's salaries involved that like go out and build the game, and we need to also like have the game support itself. If you there's also like the aspect of like, okay, if we go into the token side of things, like we want a token that will not just inflate and like not be very attractive to like participate in. And we can use revenue and token burn, locking up tokens, staking to have people make the game more sustainable. But yeah, that's kind of the like high level problem there. So what my thoughts are is where we put the earnings aside of the game is actually much more important. And this is why I'm really excited about things like the offer system and where we're going to probably start to lean the game to be a little bit different. So this offer system is interesting because we can target rewards a lot more effectively and get people doing more parts of the game that are actually they make more sense. And we can also make it so that we have more fine control over how much people earn and in what parts of the game loop, right? So truthfully, what's going to come out in this offer system in the long run is there's a whole host of issues that you guys are like pointing out. Like for example, Elephantium said, right now I think it's extremely hard to earn anything for casual players, and that's kind of a result of this game loop, right? Because the players who are really good at the game at Pixels right now have been really good at optimizing. Like how the task board and all these systems work is like you've put in a lot of work, you have a lot of knowledge about how these systems work, right? You guys know how to optimize, and a lot of the earnings go into like basically these players that have hyper optimized. But like now there's this interesting issue where a lot of the tokens and the earnings aren't going to growing the game. They're going to this subset of users who have hyper optimized, right? And we actually have a hard time giving out rewards to users who are new to the game and to grow the game too. And that's what the whole concept of this offer system is kind of intended to do. Like what we want to do is we want to start to one, get the game into a spot where it can support itself, and then two, start to grow the game again too. Now, two things will come from this if we can kind of nail this down is one, ideally we stop having so much token sell pressure day to day, right? We have to be sensitive about how we talk about the pixel tokens sometimes, right? But what I will say is I think everybody's on the same page when it comes to the foundation's goal, the pixel foundation, that they want to make play to earn work, right? And what play to earn works means is we want to make games that are play to earn, that are played by 100 million people, right? And Pixels did a decent job of that for a while, right? But now the DAU and the number of people that we're reaching has dipped a little bit. Why? A couple reasons. One, the way that we built this game, it was really, really hard to onboard Web2 users. The fact that we onboarded so many people who don't know anything about crypto is kind of a miracle, to be honest. Like, think about all the steps you need to go through in order to start playing Pixels right now. The process has gotten a lot better, but it's still a huge barrier. You have to go and like get a wallet. You have to download an extension. If you want to spend inside of the game, you have to get a Binance account. You have to withdraw your Pixel from Binance after you buy it on Binance. You have to move it on the Ronin. You have to, figure out how to use your wallet. You have to go into our withdrawal deposit system. You have to deposit. You have to wait a few minutes, and then you have to go into the game, into a store, and spend Pixel. Like the fact that anybody's deposited Pixel and spent it is actually a miracle and amazing. But it's also been limiting the growth a lot too, right? When we think about the goals, if the token price is better, basically, we have more UA incentives that we can give out to more players, and we can expand more to users and like get to that 100 million user mark, right? So the whole idea is like the game does need to have like net profit inside of it, and we need to figure out how to give earnings in the right ways to actually incentivize growth and to get to sustainability too. So a lot of what we're going to be experimenting with also moving forward when we talk about chapter 3 and when we talk about the future of all the Pixels games that we're building out is kind of this concept of like, how do we get earnings to the right people better? How do we make it so that the game loops aren't kind of a drag when it comes to earnings too? And truthfully, what that might mean is we might move some of the earnings out of some of these loops and move them more into like tasks. So one question that I ask ourselves a lot too is, why are we giving so many earnings to players who are just grinding hours a day? Like, do we actually need to have players grind hours a day to achieve all of our goals? Right now, what I will say is if you like grinding hours a day inside of the game, just because you like the game, that's amazing, right? And that doesn't mean we don't need to give earnings to people who do that, right? But also, do we need to be giving all of the earnings to these users who are just grinding hours a day? And is that actually achieving the goals that we want? And the goals that we want are two things, right? We want net ecosystem spends. We want RORS over 1. And we also want to grow the game too. So there's these two goals that we have. If we have these things, we hope that one, like the end goal there after that is, more people will want to buy and hold the token than they want to sell it, right? And ideally that leads to positive outcomes for the ecosystem and for, everybody's mutual interest, right? Which is to see the ecosystem grow, to see the token be sustainable, not just the game be sustainable, and to see like more UA power for us also. So that's kind of the high level of what we're thinking here. And yeah, like where we're going to start to move the game in the direction of. So chapter 3 is actually not too far away. I think we said it in our last AMA, but chapter 3, our ideal release date is mid-October. It's basically built out, and what we're finishing up now is like the polish aspect of it. So, I could show you a demo of chapter 3, but it doesn't look very pretty, and I don't want to show it for that reason. We're basically going to spend the next week, or not week, like the next 2 or 3 weeks figuring out a way to make chapter 3 make sense to a new user who's never seen the game before, and even to the casual users. The users who are listening to this AMA right now, like all of you guys, you are kind of the power users of Pixels, right? And you will listen to these AMAs, you'll figure out how all these mechanics work, and you'll get this kind of stuff figured out, right? But the issue is, how do we get users who don't follow these AMAs participating in chapter 3? And how do we get new users who we start to onboard into the game participating in chapter 3 too? And that's kind of the focus that we'll be going over the next stages. So yeah, that's kind of the high level what we're thinking. Basically, expect chapter 3 to come out mid-October. We're going to experiment with like basically moving the earnings from task board to other areas of the game a lot through this offer system. And this offer system will kind of be the core of what we're doing inside the Pixels. We went over, I think we've shared this before, but we've basically built this crazy tool also. And I'll try to share this in a second, of basically building out offers and making them work. Here, I'll share this because it's kind of cool for other games too. So if you can see, we built a whole cool system for, I think this is the wrong tenant. Maybe I'll go to, here, I'll go to preview actually. Let's see. But yeah, we basically built like a whole B2B system for other companies, other games, and any other game that we use to build out offers inside of their game. And a lot of the tech that we're building out right now is like, and what we're thinking and the end goal and the end vision is, how do we make any game play to earn? Now, imagine if we could take like a game like Candy Crush and make it play to earn, right? And what would that look like? Now, I don't think it's going to load, but that's kind of the end goal here. Now, what we're kind of the roadmap and the plan here is like, if we can make our own first party games sustainable and have RORS over 1, again, you can check our progress here every single day if you want on staking.pixels.xyz. All you have to do is go to staking.pixels.xyz, click on the game, and you can see how they're doing with RORS. And you can actually see that some games are doing kind of well. Like Pixel Dungeons, their RORS is almost sustainable right now, which is pretty crazy, right? So Pixel Dungeons is actually in a better spot because what they've done is they've kind of moved earnings into more smart areas than core Pixels did in the beginning stages, right? You get rewarded for actually going in, like trying to earn and risk a little bit, which is one option that the Web3 game can take. There's also other ways that we can do earnings too. Like imagine if we gave earnings more for referrals, for login bonuses, for key milestones, and we were just like a little bit more smart and precise about them. That's how it would maybe work inside of a game like Candy Crush, right? If we want to make Candy Crush play to earn, we probably wouldn't give you rewards for being the best at Candy Crush. Like what we would probably do is we would give you rewards for logging in for 30 days because that's a good reward to give. We would give you rewards for sharing this game with like a new user. We would give you rewards for like creating content about the game. And there also could be other interesting things to give rewards for too. So that's kind of the high level. A lot of what we're thinking about with this offer system too is we are also going to kind of be building like its own unique dashboard where you can go to this Pixels offer system. It'll be a whole new website actually. And you can go and check any single reward that you might be able to get in any game in the Pixel ecosystem. It'll be like your one dashboard of like, here, I go here to earn. And we'll give you options to earn in like pixel dungeons. We'll give you options to earn in pixels, whatever you want, right? And the whole system is built and designed in a way that it should be like net ecosystem positive, and you'll still be able to earn. Compare that to a Web2 game where you can't earn anything. It's pretty cool, right? So that's kind of what we're thinking, and this is how we're going to be doing the earnings in the Pets app. One of the things we're deciding in the Pets app a lot, and let me get this phone out so that you guys can see this a little bit better too, is here. I'm going to remove this really quickly. I'm going to bring up the Pets app. This Pets app is looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. And let's see if you guys can see it properly. Yeah. So this is a new game that we're going to be releasing. And again, I'll explain to you guys what we're thinking about with the go to market here. Oh, I don't have Wi-Fi on. Dang. Okay, I don't know if I can actually show it right now. I'm in a new place with no Wi-Fi. But yeah, the Pets game, I think I have some post about it on my Twitter, so I'll pull that up really quickly. It's looking good. It's looking pretty polished. And we're going to start to release this really slowly, probably mid next month also. And how this game works is it's really fun. It's like a social casual game where you can go and raise a pet with another user. We were debating a lot about where we add earnings into this game. And one of the things we've been talking about is like, oh, maybe we can add earnings for like raising rare pets and giving you bonuses and like going really far into the gacha route. But we actually decided that we're not going to add earnings into the core loop of this game. Like really where the earnings are going to be focused on in the pets game is around sharing the game with new users, creating content, and then also hitting key milestones. So if you do raise a pet to 30 days, we might give you a little bit of a bonus, but it wouldn't be huge, right? It would be like a nice to have. But with content creation, where it's like, oh, if you make post about this game and you go and post it on Reels or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, that is a huge bonus for us, right? So we really should reward you for that. Same thing with like referring new friends. Like if you're able to refer friends to this game and like raise pets with other people, yeah, obviously we should give you earnings for that. That's super helpful for us too. So there's going to be some change with this kind of stuff too when we think about the long term of earnings inside of the game. And there's kind of two directions to go down. Like the pets game won't have any earnings in the core loop, but then there will be games like Pixel Dungeons that do, right? And a lot of what we're thinking with Pixel Dungeons, in contrast to the pets app, is we're going to start to more aggressively pursue like Web2 users inside of Pixel Dungeons. Like one of the issues with Pixel Dungeons right now is we've gotten this Web3 audience, and we've gotten it actually pretty sustainable with Web3. I think we can get RORS over. Well, it is basically at 1 most days, right? If we get it to like 1.2, where when we give out 1 pixel, we get 1.2 back. Then what we're going to start to do is we're going to start to do more traditional UA too, which means that we're going to start to target Web2 users. There's a few things we want to focus on before we go fully into like the Web2 user acquisition model. But that does probably mean we'll run some paid ads and start to get new users into the game that don't have exposure to Web2. Now, in order to get exposure to Web2, what we'll probably start to do is we'll probably start to also add friendlier Web2 onboarding, which means logging with email, logging with socials, and even paying with credit card instead. Now, what's really awesome about the system is, and what I think people in Web3 need to understand also, is we can still use that to benefit the Pixel ecosystem, right? We have a really awesome thing here in Pixels right now, the staking system, where we can give rewards to users based on how much revenue is getting made inside the game, right? And it doesn't matter where that revenue is coming from. It can be on-chain revenue. It could also be off-chain revenue, and we can still use that to give out rewards to users as well, right? So Pixel Dungeons, if you haven't even noticed, they've done some stuff silently where they started giving out USDC, or you can actually use USDC to make payments inside the Pixel Dungeons. What's really cool is that they start making USDC revenue. They can also give out USDC here. It's all baked into the staking system now, where you can actually do like a blended APR, and that'll be an update coming soon, where right now in Pixel Dungeons, you'll see that there is an APR every single day, and the APR is just calculated with Pixel. Pretty soon, we'll show a blended APR of Pixel and USDC rewards, right? So you'll get a combination of both. If we take in credit cards, basically what we'll do is we'll convert the USD that we make with credit cards to USDC, and we'll give that as rewards in the staking system. So if you're a Pixel holder, there's still benefits for us to go out and expand to Web2, and you should actually want that also, right? So that's the idea. That's kind of the thing here. And yeah, ad revenue is also a thing too, which we're going to start to add as well. Now, what's interesting about ad revenue is we hadn't really been able to do ad revenue because of the Web3 audience. We've been talking to ad placement companies, basically like people that can build out inventory for ads inside of the game. The issue with the Web3 side of things is we could only find people who wanted to run ads in pixels that were like online casinos, which I didn't really like that. I was like, I don't want to push online casinos to our users. I don't feel really good about that. Now, what's interesting is that we start to go and like move more into like Web2 onboarding and also start to get a Web2 audience as well, not just the Web3 audience, basically have like a blended audience of Web2 and Web3, is we can go out and actually build out Web2 ad inventory also, which is revenue that we can start to use to also give rewards to stakers and to help the ecosystem as well. Like honestly, if Pixel Dungeons ran ads right now, their RORS would already be like over 1, right? There's no ads inside of the game right now. So there's actually just like really subtle changes that we need to make it sustainable, right? Isn't getting RORS over 1 before targeting Web2 users the wrong chain of thought? The more you try in Web3 to boost RORS, the more you'll lose Web3 users. What about the other way around? That's a good question. So I think you're right. And there's also some other nuance to it too, right? Where one, if the game isn't sustainable in Web3, then, and if it's really bad, then you're kind of already losing, right? But the thing is, if you get RORs close to 1, I think that's enough to start targeting Web2 users. Like Pixel Dungeons is completely ready to start targeting Web2 users when it comes to their RORs. Core Pixels, if you look at our, if you look at the progress a couple months ago, it wasn't. Like when RORs was like, 0.3, that's too far away. Now the gap, like most days, we're at like 0.9, 0.8. If we boost revenue by 20% inside of the game, and that could be just literally by adding credit cards and by adding ads, we might be at RORS over 1 already, right? If RORS is over 1, then we can start using, some money to go out and do user acquisition. And ideally that leads to like even more tokens that we can start locking up and burning every single month, right? So that's kind of the idea. So idea with Core Pixels and what we're thinking is chapter 3 is going to come out in about October. I really think we're going to make that push where we're getting like 0.9 or even 1 with Core Pixels. And then the next stage would basically be, I think, wrap Pixels and go mobile native. We've already experimented with that. Build out like a Pixels Go app, basically, and then start targeting a Web2 audience where we, introduce credit card payments. We go on the App Store. We try to get you guys to go and download a native app. And then we run like, somebody was saying, why not add AdMob? Yeah, then we can start using traditional Web2 ad platforms also, which would be basically there. So Pixels, Core Pixels right now, it's close enough. We actually feel really optimistic and confident about what we can do there. And then, we can start scaling user base again too, which would be great. So that's kind of the idea there. With that, what else are we doing besides like all this RORS optimization, offer wall stuff? What's great is there actually have been a ton of updates coming out in Pixels. So we're working on chapter 3, but that's not all that we're doing. We have like a team that's running some fun experiments. Like here, let me show you this one. This one's been kind of in the making for a bit. But look at some of the other stuff that we've been doing. Like we have a whole team that's been basically experimenting with new features, improving the core game loop as is. So they're making enhancements to merchant ships and other things like that. And they've also been running experiments with like what else we can do inside of Pixels. We've been teasing this one for a little bit. But we have this cool system for like other games and mini games that we add inside of Pixels. Like the team's been experimenting with adding in like a poker game, for example, that is basically ready to release in an update or two soon. It's cool because we've added like a whole lobby system inside of the game and all of that too. This unlocks a lot of other interesting mini games that we can do. And if you guys have any ideas, like this was just like the easiest one to think about where it's like, okay, poker, but like honestly, we don't need to make this poker. Like we could also skin it in like other interesting ways in mini games. This whole lobby system and this like, like risk system is potentially an interesting route to go in Pixels. I don't know if you guys ever played Minecraft, but I used to play this game called Spleef in a lot of Minecraft servers. And you need a lobby system to do that. Like now that we have the lobby system and like a risk system, there's like some pretty interesting things that we can add into the game. So this is just one example of like the backend tech that we have built out recently inside of Core Pixels. But there's a lot of other possibilities here. So please give some creative options on things we can do. Because I actually don't know if I love skinning these things as card games, but it's like the easiest first thing to go out and build. Ooh, I have a decent hand. This isn't really fair because the people playing with me right now can see my cards. um, but yeah, it's pretty cool that we have this whole system now, right? So someone said, "Oh no, Pixel's turning into an online casino." No, I don't think it's kind of like that. To be honest, what we've done with Neon Zone is like there are elements of risk, right? But it's not. We don't want to go in the online casino route with Core Pixels. So what I can say, there's interesting ways that we can take this. Like we can take this particular thing and like build out like, little mini like risk to earn loops, right? Which is fun, and then they're tied into the core game with like coins and it's not necessarily like pixel and like crazy betting like that. Oh, nice. Or yeah, there is one route that we've gone where it's like, okay, if this is demanded and like maybe there's something standalone here. But yeah, will we be able to set up tournaments or something? Yeah, any ideas you guys have like this, like let us know because there's something interesting here, right? Somebody said, yeah, Pixel's a metaverse. We like spending time here. I would love to play some poker games inside of Pixel. Yeah, cool ideas here. But yeah, that's one thing that's working, that's been worked on. Another update too, and some leaks here too, is we are reworking merchant ships. I brought that up earlier, and I can kind of explain to you guys what's going on there. So merchant ships, I'm just gonna go down to it. I don't actually need to go down to it because there's nothing to show you here. But I'm just walking there now, so we'll go. Oh, ignore that. All right, we're gonna go down merchant ships because I just want to explain it to you guys with the background of the merchant ships. But we're going to be reworking all the contracts right now. So merchant ships is getting like a pretty big balance overhaul. Essentially, what we'll be doing in merchant ships is the core loop is going to remain similar, but we're going to do a whole rebalancing on all the contracts and what they demand. Some specifics behind that is we're going to be adding in like new recipes, um, specifically some around the mill, some more demand for like animal care. And then, yeah, we're also going to be giving new rewards in merchant ships as well. One of the things that we're changing here with merchant ships moving forward is we're not going to be giving out as many tikis moving forward. So there'll be new items available in the store, new rewards, but they'll be a little bit different than what they are right now too. So yeah, expect a big overhaul there soon. I think that's releasing pretty soon. I don't know if yeah, I think I maybe just here's some stuff, I guess, at least. All right, I'm just gonna go through some questions now. There will probably be some tiki still, but we're not going to print them as much as we did basically, Chuck. So yeah, we're going to have them be a little bit more rare moving forward is kind of the idea. Here, what else? What else? I haven't had the time to go through and start some questions. So yeah, if you have any questions or anything else you guys want to talk about, then say maybe we have 15 more minutes. So here, I'll go through some of the stuff. But yeah, maybe ask some questions here too. Okay, these are Nice. Okay, this is a good like thought process too. So Neon Zone is cool as it adds to the game, but hopefully the core game experience, resource acquisition, crafting, skills, chase content, endgame lives outside of that as the primary game loop. Yeah, so we completely agree. Like what I'll say is if Neon Zone is really all that users wanted, we would probably spin that off into something completely separate in the long run, right? Like it doesn't make sense to have that be what Pixels is and like in its entirety, right? If like really all that we see people demanding for is Neon Zone, we'll make that a separate app, right? And we'll just make that its own thing. And I don't think that is what people want, just to be their own full game experience, right? I think what people want is pixels, which is great, right? Like they actually do love the resource acquisition, the crafting, the skills XP. That's the whole point of chapter 3, right? We haven't been able to share as much about chapter 3 as I would like, just because it's not super polished yet. Like I could share it, but it's not going to make any sense to anybody, right? Like maybe I'll just show you it for like proof that we're working on it really quickly. But like again, I'm not going to demo it because there's not anything like nice to show yet. It works. It's functionally there, and yeah, it's interesting. But oh, that's not it. How do I get to it again? Nope, I guess you can't see it. That's all right. No, not that one. Oh yeah, it's here. It's here. I'm just gonna show you this as like proof that we're working on it and it's actually kind of done. But this isn't it, right? Like we're gonna change how it looks. We're designing new maps for it, and I'm not gonna explain anything here. So you can screenshot this and just speculate and guess what all of this is. But yeah, that's all I'm showing basically. What I'll say is like the whole point of chapter 3 is it's basically adding a new gameplay that focuses on this particular loop. And this is where we would like to see the direction of long-term pixels go. The point of chapter 3 is like we kind of want to shift the end game of pixels from task board and just doing task board to this. So we'll probably move more of the earnings into chapter 3. We'll do it gradually. And this is like really the bet that we're making on the future of core pixels. Chapter 3 is not going to feel like a huge new thing, but it's another game loop at the end of the game. And if it goes in the direction that we want, we'll start putting even more resources into this kind of end game loop. It's basically like a faction system. There's elements of sabotage, there's elements of cooperation that you'll need to do. And essentially, like one faction will win, one faction will lose, and one faction will kind of stay like neutral every single time. So it's a game loop that will primarily be like a little risky, right? Where you have to make sure that you join the right faction, you use your resources properly, and like your faction wins. It'll kind of be running like maybe on a weekly cadence, maybe a bi-weekly cadence, and it'll be in the spirit of Spore Sports, but it won't be Spore Sports. It'll be really different, and it won't be a game loop that is like 24/7 grind either. It'll be a little bit different than that. Also, we're trying to be very careful. How a lot of the Chapter 3 resource acquisition will work, it'll be limited by land. And a lot of the gameplay will also partake on top of land too. So we'll kind of explain to you guys the economics in the future AMA, what that looks like. But that's kind of the like end goal of this. The Neon Zone is like interesting side experiments that people are working on. And it does seem like people like it, and there's some fun there. But again, I don't see that as the future of core pixels in the long run. It's fun. It's nice. I'm glad we got to experiment with it, and it is kind of working. If it works really well, again, we'll probably spin off standalone. So somebody said no more solo play in chapter 3. So chapter 3 isn't about solo play, but also if you are a solo player, this is the interesting thing about like games with real economy, right? Our end goal is basically we want some of the resources that you guys use that are higher tiered to be really useful inside of chapter 3, right? So maybe you as a solo player won't want to participate in chapter 3 and you just want to farm, or you just want to do that resource collection loop. That's fine. Just sell your resources then to the people who want to be using them inside the chapter 3, right? So you can just participate and play the game in the way that you normally would, maybe you'll find that actually you'll make more coins by selling these resources to the users that need them inside of chapter 3 than you would by turning them into the task board, which is kind of an interesting new game loop, right? Becomes a little bit more peer-to-peer that way, which is kind of the direction that we would want to go. What is this half leak, bruv? What else? Oh, this is an interesting point. Time zones and neon zone are not fun with higher or lower. We could experiment. We actually do have segmented leaderboards. What we could maybe do is we could do leaderboards by geography in the long run. Like maybe that could make sense if, or by time zone. Yeah, let us know what you guys think about this one. I'm open to it. I think we actually could do that if we wanted to. We have segmented leaderboard tech. Okay, I'm seeing questions on vPIXELs. So somebody asked, is vPIXEL dead? And what's going on with vPIXEL? So vPIXEL, we have all the tech to integrate it, and it's technically in the game now. If you go and look at your pixel balance, you'll see, or you'll see it actually more obviously in, let me connect to the staking platform. Gotta make sure I'm doing it with the right account. You'll see it more obviously in staking. So vPIXEL, it's all integrated into the platform. vPIXEL is live on chain, and we can basically turn it on whenever we want. Now, one of the issues with vPIXEL right now is the way that we implemented it inside of the task board is it's kind of all or nothing in the task board. Basically, how it would work if we turned it on instantly is all rewards in the task board would start to become vPIXEL. We would still respect deposit and withdraw. So essentially how it works in game is you have two balances of pixel inside of a game right now. If you look, it says pixel right here, right? And it shows pixel. And also below it, it'll show vPIXEL too if you actually had vPIXEL inside of the game. So basically you would be earning vPIXEL inside of the game. But if you deposited pixel, you would still have pixel inside of the game. We wouldn't be turning the pixel that you deposited into vPIXEL. That would still be respected. And when you go to spend pixel inside of the game, you would take from your vPIXEL first. So if you had deposited pixel and you want to spend pixel and you had vPIXEL and pixel, you wouldn't be spending your liquid pixel. You would be spending vPIXEL. But yeah, right now, all the task board earnings would turn into vPIXEL. So that would change the game a lot. And we could do that right now if we wanted to, but we kind of want to wait until chapter 3 is out, or we can actually start maybe even experimenting with just giving you vPIXEL and keeping task board as is, where you get liquid pixel for the short term through the offer system. So that's kind of what we want to do next. If you've noticed you haven't got a new offer yet, no user has, I think we're going to go live with new offers on Monday is the goal. And we're going to start experimenting with different types of offers moving forward too. Right now in the offer system, you've only been given tasks like coin, or you've only been given rewards like coins or farming XP or reputation, things like this. Next, we're going to start to experiment with pixel rewards too. Pixel and like also maybe vPIXEL too. So this is where we can start to dish out vPIXEL if we add in vPIXEL, right? We just thought it was a little harsh to do this before we had any of the other stuff inside of the gaming system, right? Like we didn't want to go like all in on vPIXEL and only give out vPIXEL rewards because maybe it would be good for the game, honestly, if we only have people earning vPIXEL. And the cool thing again with vPIXEL is if you earn it, you can stake vPIXEL. If you stake vPIXEL, you will get the same rewards as staking a normal pixel. So it would work the exact same. You get normal pixel if you stake vPIXEL. It basically acts the same as a normal pixel when it comes to staking. So you can stake vPIXEL and get normal pixel as rewards, basically. So we'll start to experiment with that, do all that. Ray said or asked, can we use soils like in chapter 1? So the issue with soils in chapter 1 was there was a ton of resource inflation. And I've shown this graph a lot, but What a lot of people didn't see with chapter 1 is because we were adding new users, is the inflation of coins and resources was out of control. The game economy was not very sustainable at that time. I'm not talking even about the token. I'm talking about the literal in-game economy. Basically, if we kept chapter 1 as is with like crazy resource generation as before, all of the resources in game would be useless and worthless, and it wouldn't be very fun in the long run either. We had to make a change with that. Don't you think referral tasks will all become fake as someone makes a new account and refers themselves? How can you make it actually gain new players? So we can make sure that we do qualified referrals. We feel pretty confident in that. Like we could give you a referral bonus if somebody spends Pixel, right? Or we can give you a referral bonus if they make it 30 days of playing or hit a key milestone. That's kind of the idea with this referral system that we're going to be rolling out next, Chuck. Any new partner games like Forgotten Runeverse? So here's the staking system problem right now. How many games in Web3 can generate revenue right now? There's not that many, right? And one of the issues with the staking system is we built like a really elegant system for Web3 games to come in the system, right? The issue is there's really not that many Web3 games that are worth adding into here. And that's not necessarily an issue. This is why when we're building out this offer system, and when we talk about the vision of making any game play to earn, what I'm most interested in is seeing if we can start to add in Web2 games into the portfolio also, right? So this whole system is kind of built out in a way that any game can become play to earn this way, and that's gonna be our next target. So essentially, what we want to do with the staking system long run is we want Web2 games to also be able to be in the staking system. And how they'll do that is they'll use our offer system, right? So they'll be able to give out rewards through this offer system. We're building out this really, really cool system where they can basically plug this in and show offers just like we did in Core Pixels, right? So a Web2 game will be able to come in, show an offer here. We'll help them give the right offer to the right user, and you'll be able to earn real money in or Pixel or USDC or gift cards or something like that in this offer system we add into Web2 games. And those will be kind of the next targets that we add here. So the roadmap with this is we have the Pets game coming out pretty soon. The Pets game will be the next game added into the staking system. And what's cool is, you know, we're going to be doing credit card payments inside of the like Pets game, like, you know, Apple Pay, all of that, right? You'll still be able to earn rewards by staking to the Pets game in this system. If we can prove out this system with the Pets game, it's gonna be really, really easy for us to sell this to other Web2 games, right? We can basically prove to these, you know, other Web2 games, hey, if you use our system, you'll make more money, or you'll increase your revenue, you'll increase your DAU. We have users that we can like send to your game, and we can give them rewards too. It's like a win-win for everybody. Then we'll start adding in Web2 games. Like Candy Crush is probably not the target, right? But there's other targets there that will be really interesting in the beginning stages. Maybe a Candy Crush in like 3 years would be awesome, right? Like imagine if we did have a Candy Crush here in like 3 years when this tech is really proven. It's like a no-brainer for them to add it. That's what we're thinking about basically. When Harvester and Sprinkler, closer than you think. I don't want to. I can't share that one. Maybe we can. I'll go and preview. Let me send a message. Well, soon. That's all I'll say. Will there be skill changes to Chapter 3? So Chapter 3 is going to be a little bit more strategic thinking. Is kind of the hope, right? There'll be. Yeah, there'll be. Oh yeah, Cass did post some images. Okay, let me just go to Twitter and share this. Oh, can I find this right now? We'll see. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, so there is some fun stuff like that coming. Check that out. The team's been busy and the team's been putting in some good work. So will Chapter 3 come out this year and next year? Chapter 3 expected date is mid-October. and it's all ready. We just have to polish it up, right? Oh, I just thought, what if there was a pixel pet race inside the game for fun only, and then there were also prizes for top winners of each race? That was actually what we were thinking with the pet stuff at first, and then we decided, oh no, it'll be better to like build a standalone app for pets. That way we can do some cool stuff. Now the Pixel Pets NFT, they're not going to be integrated into this at first. Like there's going to be one pet that goes live in the initial go to market of it, and our thoughts of this have changed. Like basically with the pets game, what we're trying to accomplish here is we want to basically build something that can attract the Web2 audience, and IP is really important. What we will do is when the game fully goes live, we'll make sure that any pet owner gets a benefit inside of the pets game, whether it be like a bunch of currency inside of that game, so you don't have to spend in the same way. You get like a bunch of like perks, all of that, or maybe a bonus like that also, maybe like a earn bonus, maybe one time if you have a pet, something like that. We'll figure out a way to make the pets work inside this pets game. That was the original plan though. But I will say pets are getting an in-game update also. Oh, I actually do have something. Here, one second. They're gonna get more utility inside the game in a really soon update. And also, this is gonna be really fun. There's like some no-brainer stuff that we should have added before too. So yeah, soon. I don't know if you've ever played a game like Roblox, but like one of the biggest flexes when you walk into a Roblox game is like when you see some kid has 30 pets. Yeah, we're just gonna make it so you can see all the pets following you around now that you have. It'll be a little chaotic. Maybe we have to like add a max amount, but yeah, an in-game pets update is coming. This is just like a more fun part of it. There's gonna be more utility for the different pets traits also coming. Okay. And what else? I think, dang, this kind of went fast. Leaks on pet rework. I think we'll just release it and you'll see it. But yeah, there's work being done here, is what I can say. I see this question keep coming up a lot. What about the buoy collected by players? Will they be rigged with an update and merchant ships? I don't quite know what you mean by this, but what I'll say is like the team is respecting balance a lot. Like I hope you have trust in like the team that's been taking advantage of some of this old stuff, or some of this new stuff, right? Like I think they've been really good stewards of balance, all of this too. So yeah, we'll try to make sure that we respect everything that's been done in the game before, and we're not gonna screw people over, as well. I'll say. Um, and then what else? Just a few more questions. Oh, Luke, would it be possible for future creators to see who and how much use the creator code? Yeah, so I would say creator codes are also a really good example of play to earn too, where if somebody uses your creator code, obviously you should earn. That's like beneficial for us and for you. When we think about this new, essentially, we're building like a standalone earnings app. My goal is to actually also make the earnings app a mobile app native too, where you like get notifications where you see something new that you can earn, and then you can go out and do it. But you having people use a creator code in all these games is extremely useful. Also, that'll be a part of this too, in the long run. We have something for creators to see this stuff right now, and I think we're working on some new dashboards for this in the short term. But long term, it's also super important. So I think that went quick, guys. I hope that was enough leaks for today. Don't tell Heidi. And also, yeah, again, like um, let's show Heidi some love and appreciation while she's gone. Again, I I'm super grateful to be working on this. We're still doing a lot here, and yeah, I still really believe in play to earn. I think we're making good progress, and I know the Web3 gaming market right now is a little bit tumultuous, and like it's not as hot as it used to be, right? But I still think we're close to cracking it, and I think we'll get it. So all these things together, like we've been putting some time into making some bigger bets, right? Offer system, like new game, new strategies, chapter 3. The next few months will be fun because like all this stuff is actually releasing and getting live now. So I think we'll see. I think we're gonna see a turnaround soon. So appreciate all of it. and appreciate you guys. And I think with that, we're going to wrap up this AMA. All right. Thanks, everyone.